Hi, this is Miss Amy from the Society Hill Library. I'm the Youth Services Programmer. Today we're going to read Ivy plus Bean by Annie Burroughs. And we're going to read chapter 1 and 2 today. No thanks. Before Bean met Ivy, she didn't like her. Bean's mother was always saying that Bean should try playing with the new girl across the street, but Bean didn't want to. She's 7 years old, just like you, said her mother. She seems like such a nice girl. You should be friends. I already have friends, said Bean. And that was true. Bean did have a lot of friends, but really, she didn't want to play with Ivy because her mother was right. Ivy did seem like such a nice girl. Even from across the street, she looked nice. But nice, Bean knew, is another word for boring. Ivy sat nicely on her front steps. Bean zipped around her yard and yelled. Ivy had long, curly red hair, pushed back with a sparkly headband. Bean's hair was black, and it only came to her chin because it got tangled, and if it was any longer, when Bean put on her headband, it fell off. Ivy wore a dress every day. Bean wore a dress when her mother made her. Ivy was always reading a big book. Bean never read big books. Reading made her jumpy. Bean was sure that Ivy never stomped in puddles. She was sure that Ivy never smashed rocks to find gold. She was sure that Ivy had never once in her whole life climbed a tree and fallen out. Bean got bored just looking at her. So when her mother said she should play with Ivy, Bean just shook her head. No thanks, she said. You could give it a try. You might like her, said Bean's mom. All bored. Next train for boring is leaving now, yawned Bean. Her mother frowned. That's not very nice, Bean. I was nice. I said no thanks, said Bean. I just don't want to, okay? Okay, her mother sighed. Have it your way. So for weeks and weeks, Bean didn't play with Ivy. But one day, something happened that changed her mind. Chapter 2. Bean hatches a plan. It all began because Bean was playing a trick on her older sister. Bean's older sister was named Nancy. She was 11. Nancy thought Bean was a pain and a pest. Bean thought Nancy was a boogerhead. Never since she turned 11, Nancy had been acting like she was Bean's mother. She ordered Bean around in a grown-up's voice. Comb your hair. No more pretzels. Brush your teeth. Say please. Bean's mother said that Nancy was going through a stage. Bean knew that meant Nancy was bossy. Bean also knew that nobody likes bossy kids. So she was trying to help Nancy be done with her stage. Here's how she helped. She begged Nancy until Nancy freaked out. Bean thought this was pretty helpful. The afternoon that Bean got her great idea, she was shopping with her mom and Nancy. Actually, Bean was being dragged along by her mom and Nancy. Bean hated shopping. Nancy loved it. Nancy was trying on skirts, lots of skirts. She put on a purple skirt. She looked at her front in the mirror. Then she turned to the side. Then she turned around and tried to look at her behind. "Looks good," said Bean. "Let's go." "Be patient just a little longer, Bean," said Bean's mother. "I think it's cute, honey," she said to Nancy. Nancy looked in the mirror some more. "Do you think the pockets are dumb?" "I like the pockets," said Bean's mom. "Get it, get it, get it," moaned Bean. She had never been so bored in her entire life. She was so bored she fell on the floor. Then she took a tiny peek up at the lady in the dressing room next door. "Yo, get up, Bean," said her mother. "This minute." Bean got up and sat on the tangled seat beside. She waited. Nancy looked at herself. "I kind of like it," Nancy said, "but it costs $40. That's all my money. I could get 2 skirts for $40. "Don't be a tightwad," said Bean. She had just learned that word. It meant someone who didn't like to spend money. "Don't call your sister a tightwad," said Bean's mom. Bean saw Nancy's eyes looking at her in the mirror. "Tightwad," Bean mouthed without any sound. Nancy's eyes got narrow and so quick that their mother didn't see. She stuck out her tongue. Then Nancy turned to their mother, and said, "I think the skirt costs too much, Mom. I think I'd rather try on some tops." Bean knew then that Nancy was being slow on purpose, just to drive her crazy. Bean thought about kicking her in the chin, but then she got the idea. It was a great idea. It was so helpful idea. One that would teach Nancy not to be such a tightwad. The best of all, her idea would make Nancy freak out. "You'll be sorry," Bean mouthed to Nancy. That was chapter 1 and 2. Next time we'll read chapter 3 and 4. Thank you. Have a good day.